to cybersecurity and AI success. My name is Earl. I'm the CEO of Cydian Group, bringing you over 30 years of technology experience and insight from my days as a former CIO of a large insurance agency. And as your award-winning cyber evangelist, I'm here every Wednesday at 11 a.m. Eastern to help you stay always on and always ahead. Now, if you're a CEO, a business owner, or a leader who's trying to cut through the noise in technology and get down to what really matters, you're in the right place. And my mission is simple. Every week, I give you the truth without the fluff so that you can make better decisions that protect your profits, your people, and your reputation. So here's our roadmap for today. First, I'll give you a little background on who I am and why I'm here. Then we'll cut through the noise and talk about the real signal in cybersecurity and AI right now. We'll look at who this impacts, what it costs, and most importantly, what you actually control. Then I'll show you how to leverage all of this, not just to protect yourself, but to actually grow. And then I'll tell you what your next steps are, bust this week's AI myth, and I'm going to give you a live demo of some truly cutting-edge AI in action. Finally, we'll circle back to what your next step should be. So for those of you who may be new here, my name is Earl Kelly. I've been in technology for over 3 decades. And before founding Cydian Group, I served as a CIO for a large insurance agency. At Cydian Group, we specialize in helping growth-minded CEOs in industries like legal, insurance, and other growth-focused small to medium-sized businesses nationwide. We don't just install firewalls and hope for the best. We protect profits, we enhance reputations, and we harness AI so your teams can operate smarter, faster, and more securely. We're based in Jacksonville, Florida, and between myself and my team, we bring over 75 years of combined technology experience. In short, we've seen it all, and our goal is to make sure that you don't have to learn the hard way. Now let's talk about the signal beyond the noise, because let's face it, every week you're bombarded with headlines about hacks, breaches, AI breakthroughs, and more doom scrolling than you can stomach. But what's the real signal for business leaders like you? Well, here it is. Cyber attacks are at an all-time high, and they're getting smarter. Almost 50% of all cyber attacks now target small businesses, and nearly 70% of small businesses reported at least one attempted breach this year. But yet, only 18% say that they're prepared. Now let's think about that. 8 out of 10 business leaders right now are basically admitting that they're walking into a fight unarmed. And when an attack happens, the average downtime after a ransomware event this year is 22 days. That's nearly a full month without being fully operational. A month of lost productivity, lost revenue, and lost customer trust. But here's the part that should keep you up at night. Hackers aren't just coming at you with brute force anymore. They're using AI to supercharge their attacks, deep fake calls that sound just like your CFO, and AI-crafted phishing kits that sail right past your filters. Automation that can blast out attacks at hundreds of companies simultaneously looking for the one weak spot. So this is what's really going on. Let me ground this in reality with a few examples. Today, VC firm Insight Partners disclosed that thousands of current and former employees, plus its limited partners, had personal data stolen in a ransomware attack that was tied to a breach of its human resources system. That notification was filed with the California Attorney General's office, and it says that over 12,600 people were impacted. And just this week, Clarence allegedly exposed personal data for over 600,000 customers. That's names, addresses, birth dates, emails, and full purchase histories. All of this after this breach was tied to its online stores. So both of those are a good reminder that even with a $500 million cybersecurity budget, a single weak control can undo everything. Meanwhile, TransUnion last week disclosed that a breach at a third-party vendor exposed personal data for over 4.4 million people. Now, while credit files weren't leaked, the data was enough to fuel phishing, identity theft, and fraud. And in Texas, and we've talked about this before, they just had a breach of their disaster grant system that's run by the General Land Office. And that exposed the PII of about 44,000 individuals seeking state disaster relief. That's names, birth dates, social security numbers, bank info, medical records. All were visible due to software misconfiguration. Now, I don't tell you these stories to scare you. I tell them to you because they're not hypothetical. They happen every day and they happen every single week to companies just like yours. So the truth is that this impacts everyone, but it hits small businesses the hardest. Why? Because we run super lean. We don't have room for error, and we don't have big IT teams just waiting on the sideline. And the sobering statistic is more than 60% of small businesses that experience a major cyber incident close their doors within 6 months. That means for many, it's not just a bad week, it's absolutely game over. So let's talk about the cost. And we're not just talking about downtime, we're talking about regulatory penalties, lawsuits, and more importantly, brand damage, but also leadership turnovers. The cost of a cyber incident today ranges anywhere from $150,000 on the low end to $2.2 million on the high end. I know one professional services firm that spent $65,000 just on recovery. But the real loss wasn't the money. It was that they lost their top 4 clients because their trust was shaken. And once that trust is gone, it's incredibly hard to get it back. But here's the good news. You can't stop threats from existing, but you absolutely can control how your business responds. You can control how quickly you adapt. You can control who you choose as your partner, and you can control how seriously you take cybersecurity and AI. The right partner doesn't just bring security, they bring speed, they bring efficiency, and they bring trust. And here's the really exciting part, and it often gets overlooked. Cybersecurity and AI aren't just defensive tools, they're growth tools. One of our legal clients recently invested in a cybersecurity upgrade, but instead of hiding it in the IT closet, they put it out front and center in their proposals. They literally said, here's how we protect your sensitive data. The result from that was that they won 2 new corporate contracts worth $300,000 annually. And that's the difference between looking at security as an expense versus leveraging it as a competitive edge. Now, before we move in today's myth and demo, let me pause and invite you to something I call the Cyber plus AI Profit Session. Here's how it works. We'll sit down with you and your leadership team. We'll assess your risk, run a dark web scan to see if your employees' credentials are already out there. We'll simulate a phishing attack, and then we'll show you how to harness AI to run faster and safer. Now, let's set some expectations. I'm not going to tell you that this is for everyone, because it's not. If you're perfectly happy flying blind, if downtime and lost clients don't concern you, don't call me. But if you'd like clarity on where your risks are, if you'd like to see practical ways that AI can actually make your team more efficient, then this session is designed for you. Fair enough? You can book it at cydian.group/risk, or you can call us directly at 904-907-8503. You can also click the QR code on the screen. I put one of those in there. We're all cybersecurity professionals. We'll tell you not to click them, but you can trust this one. So let's move into our AI myth of the week. Our AI myth this week is that AI is completely safe and secure by default. And here's the truth. AI is powerful, but it's not inherently safe. Recent data shows that 13% of organizations have already suffered breaches of their AI models or applications. And 97% out of those, lacked proper AI access controls. And another study revealed that 84% of popular AI tools have experienced data leaks and exposures, with over half involving credential theft. So here's some real incidents that occurred there. The DeepSeek AI chatbot had a misconfigured cloud database exposed, leaking user data, API keys, and chat logs. The Echo leak vulnerability and Microsoft 365 Copilot allowed remote, unauthenticated prompt injection attacks, enabling sensitive data exfiltration without user interaction. Those were very big words I just used there. These are not theoretical risks. They're happening today and in tools that your employees may already be using. So the real risk isn't ignoring AI or banning it. It's using it without governance, guardrails, or strategies. That's why Cydian leads with an AI risk assessment. And we have our own AI environment that you can be rest assured is secure. Now, let's bring this to life with a quick demo. So instead of regulations, let's look at something every business leader cares about. So I am going to so for this week's demo, we're going to look at efficiency. So most executives think AI is just about efficiency. And the truth is, it's also about exposing hidden risk in your businesses every day. And let me show you how quickly AI can summarize business information and why that power becomes a liability. So I'm going to share my screen with you. Maybe. And today we'll use Grok today. Every week we use a different one. So today we're going to use Grok. All right, so we're going to use Grok. And what I'm going to do is take a publicly available document. So let's say a press release or an identified document. So let's take a press release from, we'll take a big company. We'll say Coca-Cola. All right, so the one we're going to use is on the 2025 earnings. Then what I want to do is I'm going to put this up here like so. And I'm going to say, summarize this document in a one-page executive brief and highlight potential compliance or risk issues that were published without legal or IT review. So it's going to read that web page and it's going to look at the particular press release and figure this out. Now, while this is doing this, I will say this. Always keep in mind that AI is not an attorney and it does not offer legal advice. So if you think there's an issue here, if it outlines an issue, then obviously talk about that with your attorney. So here you go, really quick. Here are potential compliance or risk issues if this was published without legal or IT review. So here is the legal and regulatory compliance risk. Here are the IT and operational risk of releasing that particular press release. So again, it gives you a polished executive summary of what's going on, what is the press release about, and then what the legal and regulatory compliance risk could be. Talk about those with your attorney and make sure that your press releases are free of legal and operational risk. Again, really quick, took all of 5 seconds to do that, but that is something that AI can do. And this is exactly why we lead with an AI risk assessment. If your team is already using AI to create or summarize documents without controls, then these risks are already in your business. So if you're using AI in order to create a press release, then you already have risk in your business, and you need to put some wheels on that to make sure that those are good. So again, every week we bring you an AI myth and an AI demo. And so if you want to move forward, if you want to know what the next steps are for you, it's about scheduling a call with me. We've talked about the risk, we've looked at real world examples, we've seen how AI is both a threat and an opportunity, and we've looked at what the future could hold. So the question for me to you is, do you want to keep reacting to technology, or do you want to get ahead of it? Because if you want to get ahead, the next step is simple. You're going to schedule your cyber and AI profit session. We'll help you uncover risks that you may not even know about, and we'll show you where your team is vulnerable. And we'll map out how AI can be your growth multiplier, not just a liability. Now, if we meet and it's not a fit, no harm done. You'll walk away with more clarity than you had before. But if it's a fit, then you'll have a roadmap to make your business stronger, safer, and more profitable. So, is it worth the conversation? I think so. And you can book it at cydian.group/risk or call us at 904-907-8503. Again, I want to thank you so much for joining me today. Stay secure, stay smart, and as always, keep soaring. I'll see you next Wednesday at 11 a.m. And please be absolutely kind to each other. Everyone have a great week. I will see you back here on Wednesday at 11 a.m.